Hello and welcome to this month's webinar of the Virtual Tour 2024, sponsored by the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. This month's session will be focused on the volunteer state of Tennessee. Before we begin, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jansen Oliver, and I am one of the consultants here at the German-American Chamber of Commerce of the Southern United States. And I want to personally thank you all for attending our wonderful webinar and be a part of this wonderful virtual tour of the Southern United States. For those of you who attended last month's seminar in the great state of South Carolina, thank you for joining once again. Now let's begin as I turn it over to our wonderful Director of Consulting Services here at the GACC South, Mr. Jona Rundvald.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jens, for the introduction. And welcome, everyone, from my side. A very warm welcome from the German American Chamber of Commerce of Southern United States. We are very happy to host you today. I see already some familiar faces from our network, but also some faces I haven't seen before yet, which is, of course, the purpose of this webinar, to show you how an expansion to the United States could work. Also, again, my thank you to our sponsor of our today's webinar, Steffen Bayer from the Department of Economic and Community Development in Tennessee, and also a warm welcome to our best practice companies who will be here today. So, not keeping the welcome remarks long, a very warm welcome, and I wish you all a very insightful webinar. Handing back over to you, Jensen.
Thank you, Jona. Next, we move on to an introduction to the state of Tennessee, including its market and industries, by the director of the state of Tennessee's Germany office, Mr. Steffen Byron. Mr. Steffen, could you please take over?
We've never been the type of state to stand still. For more than 2 centuries, Tennesseans have propelled our great nation forward. From the pioneers who first blazed trails to the visionaries who changed entire industries, innovation is ingrained in every generation, and we've never missed a beat. Here, skill is passed down just like tradition. And that legacy is evident across every product, every note, and every sip. The rhythm of our workforce resonates worldwide, captivating the most iconic brands with an authentic sound and relentless creative spirit. But Tennessee is more than just a place to live and work. It's a place to thrive. Whether you've been here for generations or you're just putting down roots, this is America at its best. Today, our state commands the global stage, not because of our success, but because of our people. From music that ignites the soul to cars that spark innovation, Tennesseans were born to make. Here, brands make more than products. They make history, where success stories are born and where homegrown becomes world famous. In this land of boundless opportunity and unmatched beauty, the stage is set for those ready to make noise, make fortune, and make a mark. So what will you make? We invite you to join the generations of Tennesseans who have left an undeniable mark on the world. Together, let's show the world what Tennesseans are made of by showing them what else we can make.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jansen, and also like Jonah, for the introduction and the welcome remarks. It's a pleasure being here with you all today. So first of all, once again, a special thank you to the entire team of the German American Chamber of Commerce for organizing this webinar and for the continuous support. So during the last several years, Tennessee and the German American Chamber of Commerce have established a great partnership. So you started organizing networking events in Tennessee for our German companies, and most recently opened a German chapter in Tennessee as well, which offers a great platform for our German investors to connect with each other. So this is really, really very beneficial. And actually, yeah, we have proof that your initiatives are successful and pay off, because one of the German companies here on the call today, the company Reuters, attended one of your business delegation trips to Tennessee around about like 2 years ago, with a very positive outcome that Reuters decided to open an engineering office in Knoxville, Tennessee, and is willing to speak about their success story today. So also from my side, welcome Armin from Reuters and Ralph from Bortec, two great companies, two German companies who recently located in East Tennessee. And thank you very much for your participation in this webinar. I really appreciate it that you're taking the time today. So let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Steffen Bayer, the director of the State of Tennessee Germany office based in Nuremberg. So in a nutshell, what is my role? So I assist international companies in an early stage and educate them about the advantages of a business location in Tennessee and make sure that these companies find a soft landing in our state. So let me share my screen.
We can see it. Thank you, Steffen.
Very good. So I put together a quick presentation, just to give you an overview about Tennessee and an overview about our department, the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, and how we can help. So these are just a few ways in which we can help, how I can assist like companies when they're looking to locate in Tennessee. So most of the companies I work with are small and medium-sized companies, so-called the German Mittelstand. They're family-owned companies, maybe also like a few startups. And all of these companies are planning to open either a sales or service office, a warehouse, a distribution center, or maybe to invest in assembly or production, or like Reuters did, like in an R&D facility. So site selection, this is something that we help a lot. Most companies that reach out to me are interested in finding a landing spot in Tennessee. The first thing that they want to know is, where's the real estate? Where they can build maybe a new facility, or where's an office building or an existing building for warehouse or manufacturing operations. So this is where we mostly start our projects, with the site search process. Workforce development is another way in which we help a lot of companies. We have a director of workforce development who is on staff at our department. And she can help companies getting introduced to different workforce programs that we have at the state. Also, the locals are very instrumental, helping companies understand and talk through workforce in the area, like labor availability, what the wages are going to be like, and talk through other workforce topics a little later in my slide deck. Then incentives, very, very briefly, we have two buckets of incentives at our department, and I also talk through it a little bit later. So one bucket are our tax credits. These are tax savings. And the other bucket are our fast track grants. This is like money we put on the table to lower your expenses when you're coming to Tennessee. Besides our incentives on the state level, there are also incentives on the community level and from power companies or utility providers. Supply chain, this is something else where we are used to help companies with. If you can provide a list what your needed materials are or what supply chain needs are, our research team can definitely pull a list of potential suppliers or even customers in our state and make introductions. And we are your liaison to all government agencies. For example, if you need something from the Department of Labor or need permitting assistance through our Department of Environment and Conservation, we help facilitate those conversations as needed. So feel free to use our department as a resource. Our services are at no cost. And Tennessee is making the investment in my office, so please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. And we want to act as a one-stop shop for you and will work with you to the entire process. Let's go one back. Let's have a look at this map. So I'm not sure if everyone on the call has visited Tennessee already. So just a few location basics first to give everybody an idea where Tennessee is and what infrastructure we have. As you can see from the both small maps at the bottom, Tennessee is in an ideal location. It's very centralized, and actually its location is one of the great strengths of our state. We have direct borders with 8 surrounding states. Geographically, this is really a good spot as you distribute to your customers or get products from your suppliers. And because of this geographic advantage, Tennessee is one of the top states for logistics and distribution. So for example, FedEx has its global logistics hub here in the Memphis region, making Memphis Airport the world's busiest cargo airport in the world. Many companies use and rely on FedEx overnight deliveries by having warehouses and distribution centers in our state. In total, we have 6 commercial airports, and Nashville International Airport is by far our busiest passenger airport, which is building currently a new international terminal, offering new international flights, hopefully soon, to Europe and also to Asia after its completion. And especially our highway interstate connections are a strong driver of our logistics cluster as well. So we have Interstate 40, which goes east to west, coast to coast, from the Carolinas to California, like through Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis. Then Interstate 65 goes north and south from the Gulf of Mexico to Chicago. Interstate 75 goes from Miami up to Detroit, through Chattanooga and Knoxville. And then we have Interstate 24 connecting Chattanooga with Nashville and Clarksville. So from a distribution and logistics standpoint, it is pretty convenient to bring your products to the marketplace, which is very attractive for lots of our manufacturers. So once again, our location is a huge driver, especially for the economic growth in our state. So this attracts new people moving to our state, but also new businesses relocating to our state to actually take advantage of the exceptional business climate we have. So the business climate is very business friendly. Our governor, Governor Lee, was just re-elected to serve another term. So he and several of his cabinet members are former businessmen. For example, Governor Lee formerly ran a family-owned mechanical engineering and construction company with more than 1,500 employees. So he knows what it means to put capital at risk. In Tennessee, we are a right-to-work state with low union participation. So a lot of our big manufacturing companies definitely like that. Our state has one of the lowest business taxes in the US. We have got a AAA bond rating and the lowest state debt per capita in the country. So what does that mean? So it means that our state is financially in a very strong position because of our state constitution. It requires a balanced budget every single year. And consequently, our state budget runs by surplus and not by deficit. This puts the state in a very favorable position, both today and of course in the future, to continue reducing corporate taxes and making further investments in education or in infrastructure. So this is a big bonus when companies are looking to locate in Tennessee. And then there's no personal income tax on top of the federal income tax in our state. So for sure, our workforce is just loving that. So this is a major factor attracting new people and future workforce to our state as well. And on a regular basis, Tennessee is ranked constantly as one of the top states for doing business. So I think these are some of the reasons why our department had so much success in recruiting companies to locate in Tennessee. So this overview shows some of our recent projects and companies we have worked with. Most of them are globally recognized brands who call Tennessee home, and we are proud to have them in our state. They are really from all different industries, but I just want to point out a few, one of the big ones. So we have Ford, we have Volkswagen and General Motors. They all announced to invest billions of dollars in EV production and produce electric vehicles in our state. The same with battery cell manufacturers like Ultium Cells or LG. Both are Korean companies producing batteries for electric vehicles. Then several of our tire companies like Bridgestone or Nokian Tires expanded their production facilities as well. And also very remarkable, global tech companies like Amazon and Oracle have moved operations from locations with the highest costs of doing business to Tennessee, a state with one of the lowest costs of doing business. So Oracle plans to invest in a brand new business campus for more than 8,500 tech workers close to downtown Nashville. And Amazon has already opened its Center of Excellence, which is the operations headquarters in Tennessee for more than 5,000 tech workers, also in Nashville. As said, all of these companies are from different industries, and more importantly, all of these companies have done their due diligence during site selection and decided to locate or expand in our state. Here's a quick overview of the industries that we recruit and where we see industry clusters in our state. We have several project managers in our department that focus on all of these industries. So I'm glad to connect you with one of our industry specialists. Just want to make sure and make you aware that we have like these different industry sectors. Some of the projects I mentioned on the previous slide were exactly from those industries, like the automotive industry and the EV, the electric vehicle supply chain, or the tech sector. Some major companies have their US headquarters or their regional headquarters here, like FedEx in Memphis or Bridgestone Tires in Nashville. Also food and beverages, healthcare, as well as the chemical industry are important to us. And as advanced manufacturing, and especially the automotive sector, is by far the largest industry sector in Tennessee, I would like to highlight the automotive industry on the next 1 or 2 slides. With more than 140,000 workers, Tennessee has more people employed in the automotive sector than any other state in the Southeast. 88 out of 95 of our counties have at least one automotive-related facility, meaning almost all of our counties have some sort of automotive presence, so widely spread through the state. So all of the red dots that you see on the map, they all represent automotive suppliers, and in total, we have more than 900 automotive suppliers in our state. So for me, the main reason why so many suppliers decided to locate in our state goes back to our logistical advantage and our interstate system, which is connecting Tennessee to the M's in the northeast and to the southeast as well. So here are the OEMs in the north, which are called like the big three, and the international OEMs more in the southeast. So this is the automotive corridor we have. So we have, of course, the red area here on the map. We have 4 automotive suppliers: Volkswagen, Nissan, GM, and now also Ford. So think about it, if you are an automotive supplier and you want to serve both automotive OEMs in the north as well in the south, well, Tennessee is the gateway. Yeah, Tennessee is where you want to locate because logistically it puts you directly in the middle. Our central location and the logistical advantage is the main driver why we have really over 900 automotive suppliers in our state. And we experienced a similar trend over the past few years when the transition to electric vehicles, so from when new battery manufacturers came in and the entire battery supply chain, all of them were also looking for a location in our state. And this transition of the automotive industry from internal combustion engine to electric vehicles will change, of course, the required skill set of the production workers and the workforce itself. And workforce development is also like an important topic, which we speak normally with each company which is coming in. And we speak about like topics finding and retaining workforce. So I would like to spend the next slide or two about our workforce initiatives and programs which we have in Tennessee. Also for foreign companies which are coming in, workforce is the number 1 topic. We have a very low unemployment rate, as you probably know. So I just looked up the numbers one more time. 3.9% in the US, 3.5% unemployment rate in Tennessee right now. So all companies who want to locate in the US have some kind of concerns if they find enough and skilled workforce, and if they can keep their workforce. So this is, as I said, something what we know and what we talk with companies quite a lot. So our recommendation, especially if you are a smaller company, is to be an employer of choice. So that's how we call it, an employer of choice. So provide your workforce a reason to stay, and especially smaller companies could create a corporate culture, for example, with personal development opportunities. I mean, of course, wages are important. You have to be competitive from the wage standpoint, but we often see that the culture of the company is what helps keep people there. And as an example, I heard that especially some of the Asian automotive suppliers have more difficulties keeping people. Most of the time they bring in their management from overseas, and it's just a different management style, a different culture. On the other hand, we see the Germans bring in somebody initially, train a local manager, and then after a year or two, the German will go back, had to train his person, and the local US management seems to understand the nuances and how to deal with the locals way better, and that makes a big difference. So this is a quick snapshot of our education system and our post-secondary institutions in Tennessee. So you can see in the map how they are sprinkled across the state. So we have 10 public universities across the state, 34 private universities, and both provide like a 4 years education program, so where you get a bachelor's degree. And we have 24 Tennessee colleges of applied technology. So we call these colleges TCATs, and 13 community colleges. So those are the vocational schools where you get like a 2 years education program. For example, you get a technical certificate in welding or an associate degree, for example, in mechatronics. And both the TCATs and the community colleges are really used to working with the industries in the region, talking with companies, what are their needs, what are they looking for in the workforce, and they can help design a base curriculum around what the company needs are. For example, welders, production workers, any kind of programming that these companies would need. So if you would like to locate in Tennessee, then you would work directly with the TCAT system and the TCAT in your region, and could tailor a specialized training program for you. And those students could come and work for you directly afterwards. So Tennessee was the first state in the US that provides free college education. So as a high school graduate, you can join either a TCAT or a community college the first 2 years for free, without paying tuition, And in these 2 years, you could receive a technical certification or an associate degree. So what I learned from my conversations with German companies is that workers in the US are not as skilled as in other countries, especially when it comes to technical skills. So the TCATs are really here to increase the technical skills and to close the skills gap. Tennessee has done this pretty early, like several years ago, by improving the technical skills of its workforce and paying for the costs. Yeah, so many companies have established partnerships with their local colleges, so it definitely makes sense also for international companies who are looking for a new location to connect early with the TCAT system and position themselves as an employer of choice. Briefly, apprenticeships. So that's another way how we as the state are trying to meet the challenges of providing skilled workforce. So to be frank, Tennessee created the apprenticeship programs because of the German companies located in the state. So when Volkswagen located, when Wacker Chemie located, then all the other German companies, these companies talked about the German apprenticeship model. Yeah, so Tennessee said, hey, we need this, we need to replicate this. I know that the German American Chamber of Commerce developed an apprenticeship program for VW, for Volkswagen, in the early days, and that the German American Chamber of Commerce has now an entire department assisting companies and colleges with their experience setting up apprenticeship programs. So when we look at the dashboard, we have right now 300 active apprenticeship programs and over 7,000 apprentices in our state. So let's come to the last 1 or 2 slides. In the following, you see an overview of our state incentives. Yeah. As mentioned before, there are also like incentives available on the community level, as well as like power providers or utility companies have their own incentives. But on a state level, if a project or a company is eligible for incentives, then it's can apply for incentives actually. And our department leadership will decide on a case-by-case basis about the incentive package offered to the company. So basically, we have 2 buckets of incentives. We have tax incentives. Yeah, these are like savings, or we have discretionary incentives that we call fast-track grants. And these are kind of cash grants, reimbursable grants. So we have 3 fast-track grants: the training grant that help to offset the cost of training new employees. We have infrastructure grant that can be used to help offset the cost with some infrastructure needs, especially if a company is looking at a greenfield. It might help to pay for some of the utility costs, bringing utilities to their sites. And then we have the discretionary grants that cover everything else that a training and an infrastructure grant would not cover. A lot of times this is construction, or if a company is leasing a building and there are needs, like tenant improvements, we can use the money to help offset some of those costs for eligible expenses associated with retrofitting a building. And so the incentives are based on these 4 criteria. First, the number of new full-time jobs that the project is bringing to the state. The quality of those jobs, you definitely should be offering competitive wages. Then the capital investment over a 5 years time period, and the location of the project. So those are the 4 criteria that really drive the incentive package of our company or for your company. And last but not least, a brief overview about the international investment and the German investment scene in Tennessee. So Tennessee is very well connected in the world and is a great location for foreign companies. As mentioned, we are open for business and welcome foreign investors with open arms. So we have over 1,000 foreign-owned establishments and employing more than 160,000 people. And the reason why Tennessee is so successful recruiting international companies is that we have a global network of international offices. So we have 3 offices in Europe and 2 in Asia and Japan and Korea as well. And our local presence in overseas shows our commitment, and help international companies having a soft landing in our state. Last year, every 3rd project that we located in Tennessee was from foreign direct investment. So this is a big part of our business landscape. And we have a strong German base as well, over 120 German companies employing more than 20,000 people. And this number is growing. And you see on the map, German establishments are well distributed through the state. However, it seems that a lot of German companies are located more in the eastern part of the state. So maybe one of the reasons might be of the landscape in East Tennessee. It looks quite familiar to many Germans. I mean, you see many hills, mountains in the back. So many business visitors say they have the feeling like being in the Black Forest. So depending on where you are coming from, it might feel like being back home. And as a final comment, which is worth mentioning, especially for companies who are considering US market entry right now or planning to open a sales office in the US, we have a strong German cluster in the Tri-Cities area, which has developed over the last few years. It's located in the northeastern corner of the state over here. ETSU, that's the East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, offers a soft landings program for international companies. And several German companies have successfully participated in this program already. And the great advantage of this program is once you qualify for the program, you can use the business address or also like an office inside the business incubator the first year for free. That means you have the ability to test having a US presence for the first 12 months, risk-free at no cost. Because sometimes you just need the time to prepare internally for market entry, or you need to wait until you receive, for example, your business visa, which could easily take 3 or 4 months up to half a year. And the company BoardTech, who is here on the call as well, has participated in the soft landings program and is still using like one of the labs, like a wet laboratory inside the business incubator. So I'm sure Ralph will be able to say a few words about his experience with the soft landings program in Johnson City as well. So I'm sure, Ralph, you will be a great ambassador for this program. Yeah, and with this, I would like to pass on the virtual microphone back to you, Jensen, and thank you for your interest in the great state of Tennessee.
Thank you, Stefan, for that wonderful presentation and info on the state of Tennessee. So let me swap this back to right there. Thank you. So now we will begin our panel discussion with our local German best practice companies who have established themselves in the state of Tennessee. But before we begin and I explain the process, I want to let them introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Armin. Mr. Armin?
Hello together, Armin Heger from Voitas. I'm the co-founder of Voitas Group. It's a German-Polish, now US-based company. On the one hand side, we are engineering service provider and develop EVs or EV technology. And on the other hand side, we develop, produce, and sell our own EV charger on the market. Thanks.
Mr.
Anything
Ralph?
more?
Mr. Ralph?
Yes, my name is Ralph Hanger. I'm one of the owners of BoardTech Group. We are a family-owned company with 4 subsidiaries worldwide, 2 in Germany, 1 in Calgary, Canada, and 1 now here in the US. And we are a company that is specialized in heat treatment of metal, meaning we make metal products more wear resistant. And here in the States, we opened a new facility We intend to create 25 or 30 jobs in this Northeast Tennessee region. And we currently have a scheduled invest of about 3 million USD. And yeah, currently we are in a very exciting setup process, and I'm keen to share my experience with you guys on this project.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you once again for your participation in today's event. So a brief introduction of how this panel will work today. So our speakers will be asked a series of questions that we feel like highlight the top questions when expanding to the US. These questions will come either from internal questions that we've created, or if you have a question, please write in the chat, and I will let our lovely moderator today, Mr. Jona Rundval, our director, know, and he will ask our lovely panelists. Should these after our panel discussion is over with, then we will have about 5-6 minutes for you directly to ask our panelists any last minute questions you have. And I've let them know if they do not know the answer or are uncomfortable answering the question, that they feel free to decline. And with that out of the way, I turn it back over to Mr. Jona.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jansen. And also again, thank you very much, Ralf and Armin, for being here today, sharing your experiences. Also, Stefan, thank you very much for the very insightful presentation. You already shared many insights regarding Tennessee, but Ralf, I would like to go one step behind. So why did you initially decide to expand to the United States?
I mean, the basic intention to move to the United States was the idea grew during COVID lockdowns in Germany. So to be honest, we were thinking about where do we want to do our next investment, where do we want to grow, do we want to experience the same thing again, probably in the next years, who knows? And we were exploring different areas worldwide, but ended up in the US. Since I've been already in the US in 2007 for 1 year in the South, so I know a little bit about Southern US. And we explored this area, as Stefan already mentioned, very friendly people. We have nice surroundings, nice weather in the South. We expect to have a good workforce, and this brought us finally to the idea to explore the US. And then we checked out internet, made contact to the Tennessee Economic Development. Really easy to find on the internet, and also really easy to reach out as a German company to a guy like Stefan Bayer with a German telephone number. So there were no language barriers in place, so really easy to make contact, and this is why things kept going.
Very, very interesting. Thank you for the insights. Armin, how was it for you?
Yeah, we just participated in a e-mobility delegation. It was managed by the GACC South, and we started it in Nashville, and also later we came also to Birmingham or Tuscaloosa. And yeah, I came there, had no information about the US, no clue about the US, was just an empty glass. But at the end, I knew more than before, and something happened in my head, and then I just said, hey, we have to go there. There are so many opportunities. It's so company friendly over there. So this was the beginning. This was in November 2022.
Well, great to hear that the Markterschließungsprogramm was successful and you could relocate. We're very happy about this, of course. You already mentioned also why you decided to go to Tennessee. Ralf, what were for you the criteria, or what made Tennessee the most desirable location for you?
I mean, of course, what we were looking for is we wanted to put a product in the market, and we need to do this for a reasonable price. And as you know, probably right now in Germany, it's not that easy to do business. There are some strange things going on. Finally, we have one of the highest energy prices in the world. And of course, we as a heat treater, we use a lot of electric energy. And this was one of the major reasons to look for locations where we can have energy for a reasonable price. and we can have it here in the US for a quarter of the price that we currently pay in Germany. Of course, also the labor costs are lower than in Germany. I have the impression, I'm not that long here, just 6 months doing business in this area, but it's really easy to do business. The people are, or these processes, the business process are very, very fast. And it's nothing that we usually know from Germany. And I really like the way people do business here.
Okay, so we also have the intercultural differences, a very important fact. And yeah, of course, the United States, or the business in the United States works differently, faster than in Germany, I would say for some cases. So very interesting how you made your decision. I think that supply chain matters are also a very important topic. Definitely, this is a question we received from the audience right now. What would you say is the most convenient shipping port if you are shipping to Tennessee? What options do we have?
So there are like several options when you look at the East Coast, starting like in it's Jacksonville in Florida, and then you have like Savannah in Georgia, or also like the Charleston port in South Carolina, or then the ports up north in the New Jersey, New York area. And actually from there you can truck either your containers, or like with intermodal, like by rail, bring it over. And when it arrives after a day of custom clearance, it will be here like in a day truck drive. Yeah, so these are the ports where a lot of companies, either like automotive suppliers or also like the automotive OEMs, use the ports at the East Coast. Yeah.
Isn't there
Okay, so
FedEx in Memphis or something?
Exactly. Yeah, like FedEx. Yeah, the logistics companies and FedEx, as in Memphis, Tennessee. Exactly. Yeah.
I think logistics or supply chain matters are very important in general for every expansion project, but of course it also is important depending on what stage you are currently with your expansion. Armin, what is your current expansion stage? So how far are you with your US expansion?
So expansion in the meaning of developing the business. Yeah.
Yes,
So
you mentioned. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we officially started in January now in Tennessee, in Knoxville. And so the funny thing is we have won already our biggest project of the company group so far. So the US, go to the US paid off already after 3 months. And regarding the supply chain at one point, because also people are some kind of supply chain. And Ralf, you said people are cheaper than in Germany. Maybe what they are doing for you, but not for us. So engineers are more expensive here, of course, than in Germany. So they cost around about 30% more than in Germany. But also the hourly rates, what you get, are 70% higher than in Germany. So it pays off at the end. You have to invest longer into the people. So you need a little bit of money behind in your bag to achieve it, but afterwards it pays off. So this is also very important.
I think it's very important to mention that, of course, every country has its benefits, advantages and disadvantages, and also every industry has its advantages and disadvantages. Steffen, in terms of workforce development and workforce availability, you already gave some information regarding what you have, and you also mentioned the CAP programs. So, what else or what other options are available to support with such kind of workforce development questions?
Yeah, maybe there are different stages. So one, still during site selection. Yeah, if a company provides us with the SOC codes, these are the standard occupation codes. Then we can look at the skill set of the workforce you're looking for, and if you have a certain site, a certain region, we can also see how many people are living actually or are available in this area, so that you can really get the confirmation before you locate if there is maybe on a 30 or 45 drive time radius enough workforce for your establishment. Then, of course, later on in the process, we have a workforce division, a director of workforce development on staff, and they make the introductions to the different programs, coordinate job fairs with the TCATs, and actually also like promote foreign companies into these schools. And they also like assess, for example, the training needs on site. So they go to the companies in the region and really like learn what they need and then give recommendations. And when it comes to hiring support or recruiting support, there's a thing called like pre-employment training or a kind of an orientation week or two. So potential workforce will come to your facility and they actually practice to work for you. Yeah. So basic things like, does the workforce show up on time? Yeah, or are they able to follow work instructions? There are simulations for safety, or are there like other tasks which the workforce follows? So these are tasks which you actually do in this week or two, and then they're like HR people as well over here, and then you can decide if the workforce actually, or actually the people in this training, do you want to hire them or not? So when it comes to production workers, for example.
Maybe I can add something to that, because also UTK, University of Tennessee, is located also in Knoxville, where we are, and they invited us several times to UTK. We had several meetings with them. They have great programs. Also, you can ship students outside of the nation, send them to Germany, collaborate there. We also can get internship. They have also a big platform where we can post our jobs, what our job needs. And right now we are already hiring the first one. The first one gets already employed in April. Also German speaking, by the way. So it's really great support from this side also. Unexpected, because from Germany you don't know this. We are coming from Ingolstadt. We talked to the Technische Hochschule, something like university. They didn't even answer.
It's sad to hear that our German partners did not answer, our German counterparts did not answer, but I think it also shows how differently the education systems work, and also how or what kind of position universities have in the market. I think it's differently to Germany. So universities are usually very involved, and I think, Stefan, they are probably also a good partner to connect with in Tennessee. Ralph, we already talked about some barriers right now, and definitely workforce availability, workforce development being one of the, or like a very important barrier. What barriers did you face when you were expanding to the US?
So, I mean, we can start from the very beginning. You need to have a visa if you want to work in the US. And the visa application process was kind of tricky for a German. Meaning we had to incorporate a company and had to do investments in the US without knowing if the visa will be approved. This made us feel kind of uncomfortable during the first months. It was suggested to already hire first American employees for the visa application process. So, meaning we had to take a major risk as Germans, spending money, incorporating a company, incorporating a corporation in a foreign country without knowing if I would be allowed to come to the US and work. But anyways, when weeks goes by, it's getting better and better, and then you don't care anymore. You spend more money, buy equipment, stuff, and then you ship it. And I mean, in the end, it was time consuming, as Stefan already said. It took us, I think, 5 months before I was invited for the visa interview, but then it was absolutely no problem to get a visa for the US. From a tax perspective, I want to tell you that you have to pay attention, especially when you partly own a German corporation and want to move to the States to do business. Why? That's definitely something the German government doesn't like. They're gonna tax you with what is called Wegzugsbesteuerung. I strongly recommend working with tax lawyers and getting advice on these matters. And what was really nice here in Johnson City, we have the ETSU Innovation Lab that has experience in assisting German companies establishing their business in the US. And they provided a good infrastructure such as offices, a post box, and a corporate address. People can assist with bank accounts for foreigners, etc. Contacts for local lawyers that help with the incorporation of the company. That's been definitely very helpful for us. Yeah, but there are some stepstones that I can imagine a lot of Germans don't like, because we always want to be secure. And taking the risk to make the first step, doing the first step, this was, I think, something we had to adopt as Germans.
I can imagine, I can relate. Expanding to the US is always it's always a big move, of course, and also relocating. I mean, there's also a personal component next to the market expansion, as you said. It's connected to uncertainty. Uncertainty, you in many cases you cannot avoid, but the more happier we are that you relocated, you expanded to the United States, and starting off. So with saying this, I think it was a very insightful discussion. Also mentioning, perks to mention from the German perspective, with the tax perspective, for example. So thank you very much, Ralf, Armin, and Steffen for the insights. I would like to open the floor now for any questions or any further questions from our audience. Now you have the chance to ask Steffen, Armin, and Ralf whatever you would like regarding your expansion plans.
Steffen, you didn't mention that you said we have low tax in Tennessee, but you didn't mention the liquor tax.
The liquor tax.
Drink only beer, please. No cocktails.
No, I mean, the taxes you pay supports actually everything which we do in economic development. Yeah, so drink German beer or Tennessee whiskey, go for it.
We just received a question for you, Armin. So the question is, what is as well a software provider as a provider of tools using the software? How was your experience with introducing software within the United States?
Software developing at the end, software development at the end, yeah. So you mean the thing is, what I recognized is that the US companies or other people, they're very open, so you can get in touch really fast with those people. The barrier is very low. So you can go there and say, hey, give me 30 minutes pitch, and then you get a meeting, it's not a big problem. But at the end, they would say, or maybe all of them say, hey, this was awesome, this is great, we want to work together. And then afterwards, nothing happens, and then what is this now? Because this is a different mentality. They call it Midwest nice or something. People are always friendly. They don't tell you the truth, what they're thinking. This is not so easy to understand this. That's why we hired a US American business development manager at the end, because I think you need American in America to do really good business.
That's a very good insight. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Any follow-up questions?
Maybe be aware that they calculate the lease rate in dollar per square feet per year. Because when we came, a little fun fact, I thought, this is so terrible expensive there to lease something, but it was annual, and not monthly. Because I did only know the monthly rate, and I thought it was monthly, but it was yearly, so it was crazy. So lease something is even a little bit cheaper than in Germany. an office.
Yeah, I can share my experience for the space that we have. I would pay double in Germany. We have nearly double space here, and I pay the same price as in Germany.
Yeah, we have an office space in a skyscraper, in the Knoxville skyscraper. We call it now Reuters Tower. And it's I think it's 20 to 30% cheaper than our office here in the third floor in Germany.
So we see clearly, location factors, and I think this is also what Steffen mentioned before. Tennessee has advantages. I think this is one of the advantages, the availability of space and also the cost factor. So yes, thank you very much again for your insights. I would like to move to the next or to the final part of our webinar today. We had some points, or we had some pain points, maybe some challenges, some barriers to expand. And one of the statements we want to set with this webinar is, of course, also that you're not alone with these barriers. We have a broad network. That's also why we have here today, for example, Ralf, Armin, and Steffen, who are supporting, can share the knowledge, and we do the same. So we support you with business representations. This is in basically what Ralf also mentioned earlier. You can use our address, you can use our phone, and we represent your business in the United States. But our service portfolio is very broad. So we also support with market entry support, meaning market studies, feasibility studies, with the general business development. Armin, you mentioned earlier getting a visa, and Ralf, you also mentioned getting a visa. It's a very big part of expanding to the United States. So we also support with this matter with our network and also with the special service we have to develop a US business plan needed to get a visa to start the business. So saying this, there are many components we can help with pre-expansion services, with after expansion services, be it like recruitment services if you need German speaking or German affiliated staff, or in general also with payroll and bookkeeping if you have a small office in the United States but do not want to deal with all of it at once. And as Steffen mentioned earlier, we are working very closely together. We are partners over a very long time already. And our goal, our mission is to make sure that the market entry for German companies is as convenient and as easy, and of course also as successful as possible. So saying this as the final remarks, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are there for your feedback. Reach out to us, to me or to Jensen, also to Steffen, and we will all together support you and make your market expansion happen. So thank you very much again, Steffen, for the presentations, the insights, also Armin and Ralf for your time and all the valuable insights. I think it was very helpful for all our participants. And for saying this, we wish you all a great rest of your day and perhaps see you for our next month's virtual tour going to Mississippi. All right, then have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
guys.